returning subscriber, thank you so much for always coming back. And if you're a new subscriber, my name is Mira Onoja. I speak on relationship and marriage. On this platform, we have answers to the unanswered questions of your heart. If you've not subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Tap on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you know each time I post a new video. Today, as you can see, this edition is taking another dimension, and as you can see, I'm smiling from molar to molar because I have great personalities here with me. I've known them for quite some time now, although from a distance. I have a lot of Facebook friends who post their content, and I fell in love with them on social media until 2 years ago when they were posted to Lagos, and I was so excited. I felt, oh, my joy knew no bounds. And when they came, they started this program tagged Couples Corner. The first edition was wow. It was more like a second honeymoon for me. I experienced a lot. I learned a lot, and I am so thankful to God. I have not even recovered from that program yet. After that edition, we had series of editions that has blessed homes, has healed homes, and we've not recovered from it yet. Please help me welcome Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Fidelis Alika. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, ma.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you on this platform. Without wasting time, let's just jump right into the introduction. So, Daddy, please, can we meet you?
Good afternoon, everyone, or good day, everyone. You already called our names. My name is Pastor Fidelis Alika. My postgrace, the resident pastor here in Dunamis, Lagos Central. And my wife.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. How long have you been married for, and how has the journey of marriage generally been?
By God's grace, we celebrated our 14th wedding anniversary, December 17th.
Wow.
By God's grace, if Jesus tarries to come, we will be 15 years of marriage this year.
Wow.
Asking about how the journey has been,
Yes,
I would say, or we would say, it's been from glory to glory. It keeps getting better, keeps getting sweeter. We are more in love now than when we first met.
wow.
So
Interesting.
thank you.
As pastors, a lot of people feel that you don't have issues, and then this is because of the way you align, your matching outfits, your charisma. Everything about you people is beautiful. Personally, I admire you people, and my question now is, do you really have differences? And if yes, how are you able to settle it without the kids and people around you knowing about it?
I think she should start. Take it off from there.
All right, thank you very much once again. For me, it was first a matter of decision. Once you understand what you're going into and you plan yourself even before entering into it, you make sure that everything around it is planned. For me, I decided I was going to have a peaceful walk. I decided I was going to have an enviable home and an exemplary home. So it's a walk. I had to walk towards it. We had to agree and walk towards it. First, your question, do we have differences? Yes. There is no way people can be in relationship from different background. Got married at, if we got married at 28, 26, that means for 26, 28 years, we've had our differences. We grew up from different backgrounds, then there was no way we can come together and there won't be difference. So, having that understanding, we knew that we needed to learn ourselves. We needed to understand ourselves better. So, we took the decision that it was going to be a process. So, having that at the back of our mind also, whenever these things comes up, especially at that early stage, at the learning process could take 3 months for some persons, it could take 6 months for some persons, It could take a year. It could even take 5 years for some persons. And for 20 years, some persons are still getting to learn each other. But for ours, it was early because we had the decision made already. So as the differences were being noticed, we were aligning ourselves to our telling ourselves, no, this can work in this home, this should work in this home. And as a result of that, in a very short time, we're able to blend together. And being able to blend together helped us to have a smooth home, effortlessly.
Honestly, it's very obvious.
And if I'll add to that, like your question, you rightly asked if we have differences, like you said. We'll be unreal to say we don't have differences. It is not normal or possible for two human beings to live together. We are not robots. Neither were we formatted when we got married. Like she said, we had different backgrounds. I'm from Delta State, she's from Edo State. We had different orientation growing up. We had different upbringing. The way I grew up different from the way she grew up. The environment I grew up different from the environment she grew up. This is how I do things. This is how I do things. And before you know it, I realized that no, if we have to make it work, we need to sacrifice. If we have to make it work, we need to readjust. And when you overanalyze, you may arrive at something that somebody does not have in mind. And when you begin to read minutes into things like that, before you know it, there are issues. I wasn't thinking that, but because of analysis, and when I realized that wasn't helping us, I decided to sit back and readjust. Because if care is not taken, you may spoil what you treasure with your own very hands. So we decided to, okay, let me understand how she thinks. Let me understand how she does things. And she also decided to understand how I think and how I do things. And gradually, we began to play. Now, most times, misunderstanding in homes is as a result of two people refusing to understand. They just decided not to understand. And they are unyielding. They don't want to bend. Everyone is sticking to his right. This is sticking to his right, the other is sticking to her right. I realized that marriage cannot work that way. If we keep at that, we may end up spoiling what we treasure towards it. I've realized over time that it does not cost anything to say I'm sorry. And it does not change me from being a man to say I'm sorry. And that word I'm sorry goes a long way to settle nerves and calm situations.
14 years is not a small thing. Like, she's not beans at all to be married for 14 years. And in some homes, as the years goes by, the shared love begins to reduce. How are you able to keep the marital wine sweeter and intact? What's the magic?
Like you said, it's in wine. In my understanding, wine gets better with age. Will I say God is also at work in this matter? Yes, He is. Because I realized, like I said, our love for each other is stronger than our own first met. Somehow we don't see our hearts parting for each other. And I've realized over time that when I travel, the best place to be is at home. The few days I'm away is like I'm miserable. When I was transferred here to Lagos precisely, the movement didn't happen at once. I first came in. A few days later, she joined me. Our children were there at our former station. And the arrangement we had at first was that she would have to stay with the children and be visiting once in a while. But we couldn't keep to that. She was staying with me, then visiting the children. What we had in mind was that she would stay with the children, then visit here. But I realized that whenever she travels, it's like my whole world shuts down.
Wow.
Seriously. And the same when I am not where she is. So we decided to work it out in a way that we have family members with us. So they were with the children. While we were here, we were doing video calls. We were trying to see how we can make them know that we haven't forgotten them. And those few months that happened, we realized that I keep telling her that I don't actually know how it can be for us to be apart for 1 week, 2 weeks, that we're not seeing each other. We haven't experimented it, and we do not intend to experiment it. 1 week sometimes looks like a year.
Wow.
The other day, one of our leaders here came to the office and was teasing me when she returned. There was this Sunday that she was not around. She had to travel for something. And he walked into my office and said, "Sir, you see that you were miserable." I said, "How do we?" He said, "It was clear that you were not complete." And I didn't know that he read it. I was trying my best to make sure that nobody notices that I was missing her. But, you know, it's like pregnancy. You can't hide it forever.
It's very obvious.
It's very obvious. Yeah, so I think she also has one or two things to say. And so,
That's you.
Thank you. Over the years, like he said, we've come to blend so much that it's difficult to stay apart. We eventually do everything together. Running the home, we do it together. Then the ministry will assist in my little way. I do assist, and then that means we're always together. Majority of the places you see us, we are always together. And I think that that is one of the major things that has further increased the bonding. And it didn't just start today, it started since our wedding. It wasn't really a deliberate thing. We didn't really sit down and say, anywhere I'm going, you're going with me. But it just kept happening. If he has to travel, even if there were times that he needed to go alone, there will always be this request: "Can you come with me?" I said, "Okay, but this you're going for, my attention is not needed, so why should I go with you?" And he always like, "Let's just go together." So in most cases like that, I've had to travel with him, and then like that by the grace of God, none of our children will come and say, "Mommy loves this," or "Daddy loves this than this." No, this is Daddy's favorite, or this is Mommy's favorite. They've not had reason to say that. And then God has helped us. If it's family bonding, it's just the help of God. There wasn't anything like sitting down and agreeing on what to do to help the family to bond. We just see ourselves doing these things, and for us, we believe these are the things that have helped us so far.
Wow. One of the common sources of issues in marriage is the in-law factor. At least I witnessed 2 Thanksgiving, 2019 and 2020. I don't only see your immediate family, I also see the extended. How are you able to cope with the in-law factor with so much love and togetherness?
when it comes to the in-law factor, my in-laws are people, and her in-laws, my people, have not affected our home negatively at all. In the first place, I so much believe that when your family loves you, they should love what you love. A situation where they love you and take side with you or fight what you love, that is not really love. Because if they love you, they should value what you value. They should treasure what you treasure. It's clear to my family that I love my wife, and they don't want to hurt her, so they will love her and love her people because they love me. It's also clear to her family that she loves me, she values me, she treasures me. So in order not to disappoint her, permit me to use that word, to show her that they really love her, they in turn love me and love my family. Because should at any point, should they have issues with my family at any point, it will affect me, it will affect her. So the best way, and also they are aware that we have made them to understand also that this is one big family. I didn't just marry their daughter. I became part of the family. So by extension, it's one big family. My mother and her mother are like sisters. From the very first day they got to see her, they never had any challenge, no objection. They just loved her. The first day I went to her people, traveled to her place, same treatment. So why should we start fighting ourselves? Why should we have any cause to having the civil war in the family? So there was no need for that. And by God's grace, whoever knows us know that what we are saying is true.
It's obvious.
So,
the reason for my question.
so that's that. And I will not be able to say this and this and that, but these are the few things I have observed that could have contributed to that. Like I keep saying, I think God has had it also. So I do not know if I said, or she should have one of the things to say.
Anything to say?
Thank you very much once again. For me, yes, Daddy said it all. One other thing I'd like to say that I think to be of benefit to any of our listeners is that about value. The value you place on anything you love is the value everybody around you will place on it.
That's right.
The value I place on my husband or for my family member is the same value they tend to place on him. Over the years, even before our wedding, I made them to understand, like a normal traditional rites, you have to bring this, you have to bring that, you have to bring. I told them from the beginning, I said, please, my husband to be there, he's a pastor. So don't expect any alcoholic drink in this occasion. He won't bring it. And then there was this, and you just bring money, let's just get it. It's something you must do. And I told them, I told my guy, I said, no, I won't even use my money. I won't ask him. He's the one that's supposed to get those things. I won't ask him, and I won't use my money. And then I think taking my stand then made them to understand that these people, they have value and respect for each other. Right. That is one of the things I think I did then that nobody among my lineage then was able to get through it. So with that, they started valuing him. Oh, of course, he's really a man of God. Of course, that was the first thing. Then, if he's a man of God, they must respect a man of God, not minding the age. So, my mom fell into that trap first of pastor, God bless her. So, my mom calls him father. My mom calls him daddy.
As young as I am.
So, it's been like that. From there, it extended to every member of my family. Before I lost my dad, he was always valued. He told him the first day they saw each other together, he told him that you are my son. Called him son. And then the same thing, my mother-in-law, I remember on our wedding day, we had few persons that came from my wedding that were asking me, are you sure this person is your mother? Are you sure this person is not your mother? Oh. Referring to my mother-in-law as my mother. The bonding from when we met each other has been there. For family, it's been there. And I believe it started from the foundation. We didn't have to do any extra work. And I made my family to understand that this is not just in-law. Hardly before you hear us calling ourselves in-law. Hardly. When you come to our home and everyone is there, my husband's people, his sister and the children, you won't be able to differentiate. You just see everybody blending. When my cousins comes around, his cousin, they come around, you won't be able to say, okay, this is this person's cousin and this is this one's cousin, because everybody just have to blend. They just have to blend together and relate as a family. So it's always been like that. I just think it's God's faithfulness and His help so far.
Again, I'm satisfied. Mommy, I don't need a sister to tell me that when you were younger you were beautiful, because right now you are still very beautiful. How were you able to know that Daddy is the right person for you?
Thank you very much. I must say that I had lots of suitors, and the most confusing part of it is the fact that 95% of the suitors are pastors.
Wow.
Even though I wasn't praying to be married to pastor, my prayer, my focus was just somebody that fears God and somebody that is a born-again Christian. If he fears God, he will love you. If he fears God, he will be the one that I desire. So I wasn't praying for pastor, but when the time got close to marital settlement, I must say that I didn't even pray for marriage at that time. I was running away. But 95% of the people that came about the same year were pastors, and the other 5% were very serious Christians too. And that was a major task for me. What I did majorly was to pray. I prayed and I told God, help me. And God helped me with the right people around me at this time. I would like to appreciate my mother in the Lord, Dr. Becky at that time. Because when I saw the rush then, I had to send anyone because I had the focus. There was something I needed to achieve there. That was my major focus. And I went to her and I told her it's distraction. This thing coming to me now, for me, it's a distraction. I said, so mommy, please, you help me fill in the gap. I said, all that I was going to do was, once they come, I just say, mommy have an answer to what I want. So just go to her. And funny enough, most of them were going to her. And then she was the one that now called me. She said, this thing is not coincident. That they are coming at about this time is not coincident. Go and pray. I was like, it means she has given up already. She won't help me anymore. So I needed to actually pray. And when I went in to pray, I'd never had anything with my husband then, other than him teaching us in the Bible school, and there is a pastor in another location, and I was at the headquarters, and it was in Niger State then. The only time we had time that he came, that I saw him, and that we were close, was during my Bible school days, and that was it. But when mommy gave this instruction, I had to go and pray. And when I prayed, what I knew was that it was the one. And I was like, there was no connection. There was no connection. How? Why? Then I had one other pastor tutor that was around me that he has all the qualities I wanted in a man, but at that time, he had not spoken to me. And then I had one of the tutors who was also very close, also a pastor, and he had proposed.
Wow.
The two of them had almost the same qualities I wanted in a man. That became more confusing for me, and I just left it. Since he hasn't spoken, I left it. I didn't make any moves. I didn't let people. How will I even be close to him? He was my pastor, for Christ's sake. These are people that were looking up there. Me, come back now. I know now. This thing that if I had a thought of it on my mind at all, I would have told myself it's your thoughts. But it never crossed my mind that it was going to come for such a thing and all of that. So when I had that, I just left it. I couldn't even tell anybody. Like I said, it's good to have the right people around you. I had some pastors around me also in the commission there, whom I also relate some things with sometimes. And then when one comes out, and my pastor then will tell me, one of my pastors will tell me, say, no, this one, I don't think he's coming for you as a person. I think he's coming for the gifts God has given to you. Wow. And if the gift, peradventure, faith, the love of faith, you will lose that. This is not the will of God for you. I don't think so. And like that. So the kind of people I had around me helped me to sieve these people until it was narrowed down, and I realized that what is required of me is just to wait on God. So I kept waiting. It took him almost more than a year to finally, almost 2 years, right? To finally.
Well, you are done out there.
It took him like almost 2 years. So I just left it for that period of time. Every one of them, I just released them. I knew they weren't the one, so I just released every one of them to go. Please, and my answer to them wasn't aggressive. Also, this should be a lesson to single ladies. It wasn't aggressive, even though I got confirmation that it wasn't any one of them. My response to each and every one of them was always that, sir, I appreciate the honor of proposing to me, to be married to me, but I've taken my time and I know that I'm convinced that we're not made for each other maritally. But that doesn't stop your place as my pastor, and then my place as your member, and then your respect and everything that I'm always giving to you still remains intact. And my desire is that because of the kind of person you have and the kind of value that I have placed in you, I pray that God will give you somebody that will be better than me. And they'll just be so excited. Some still return, try their best, and it's not working. But for majority of them, we maintain relationship. Sometimes when I go to the headquarters, up to date, our headquarters church in Abuja, I still meet some of them.
Wow.
We still relate, and it's just been awesome. So for me, it was God and having the right people around me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ma. So, Daddy, how were you able to know that Mommy was the right one for you?
Thank you for that. I gave my life to Christ quite early. Realized that the call of God, I also realized the call of God on my life early. So got into ministry. But I entered ministry without being married. Still a young man. And as God kept helping us, normally you will see a lot of people. You will see so many people positioning themselves, especially when you are a pastor who, as your pastor, and they know you are not married. And if care is not taken, excuse me, you don't handle it on time, you may end up a confused fellow. Because there are those that will be fake, there are those that will be real, all in an attempt to permit me to same position. And I got to that point and I knew how to settle this. So I started praying. Like she said, I saw her first when I came to teach the Bible school. As at that time, nothing serious crossed my mind. But as I prayed, it looks like, there's no God spotlight. It's like God was trying to spotlight her to me. Then I was based in Mina, Niger State, and she was in Abuja there. So I spoke with one of our pastors at the headquarters. I said, please, I am not around here. Please help me make some inquiries about this lady. What I never liked was to go to somebody and say no. To look like I didn't hear God well. I hate to jam rock. And I hated the rejection. So I didn't just want to try anything, but before I try, let me be sure the coast is clear.
Yes, sir.
So he came back with reports that were not very good. She said there is something she's pursuing, she's not interested in marriage, and this, that. After the person spoke, I said, did you see yourself? If you had gone and she had said no, how will you handle this matter? So I returned and I made a move towards marriage. It was in the wrong direction. And the outcome of it, that is why when God says something to you, stay by it. Just like God said to Abraham, I will give you a child. And when it was not forthcoming, he had an alternative option that has not left the word the same to them. That same person, 95% of the things she told me about herself were lies. I won't like to go into that. So I withdrew. I said to myself, I'm done with everything relationship now. My father and the Lord got to know about that because there was nothing hidden. My mother and the Lord knew. Some family members knew. But when I decided to end it also, they all knew about it. So I told them, I'm done with this for now. Let me clear my head. What I just went through, this ordeal, let me clear my head. I didn't want to have anything to do with marriage for now. Let me settle them. I was on my own and I had a revelation. Now, if anybody knows Dunamis Church at Area 1, the current church at Area 1 before the Glory Dome was built, you'll know that there is an underground, there are offices on the ground. You follow through a spiral stairs to where the ministers are. And I just saw myself in that revelation. I climbed through and I came up. And I saw my mother in the Lord in that revelation. She called me. She said, Fidelis, come here. I greeted her. He said, the way you are behaving, in a revelation, not physical, the way you are behaving is like you don't hear God. You are behaving, is either you don't hear God or there is something wrong with you. And she was talking to me about my wife now. Then nothing. I hadn't spoken with her. Somebody just gave me a negative report. And I woke up from it. I said, what kind of dream is this? I know I hear God. So if what God laid in my heart returned, then this revelation was bothering me. So I had to move from there to one of our pastors, a friend. We joined the ministry the same day. And I was sharing with him. I said, this is the revelation I had. And I had just had. And he just got married as at that time. Or he was preparing for his wedding. I think he was preparing for his wedding. So this revelation is, this was what I had in mind, the encounter I had. And this is the revelation that is coming up now. He said to me, God may be saying something to you. You need to stick to what God is saying. As we were talking, she called me. Wow. She had never called me in her life. I didn't even know how she got the number. Just called to greet to know how I was doing. I dropped the phone. Then GSM just came out. I dropped the phone. I said, guess what? That revelation has a follow-up. He said, what do you mean? I said, she just called me. What did she say? She just greeted. So I knew God was saying something. And I decided to take the bull by the horn. So we started the process. Like trying to know how I got to know. I was led, and I believe in divine direction. I so much believe in divine direction. Like I said earlier, I think God's hand is in this marriage. He will always lead you in the way you should profit. The leadings of God are not grievous at all. There is no way God tells you to follow through a road or a path and you end up regretting, except you didn't hear him well. Actually, there are many voices. There is a voice of the flesh, there is a voice of the devil, and there is a voice of God. If you heard God, if you hear God, it will always turn out well. So what we see, I think, it points to the fact that God's hand is in it. I've been saying this is the same now. This talk started. God's hand is in it. So that was how I got to know. And we started the journey. The relationship, the courtship took us about 3 years. Not because we wanted it to be so. One or two things came up that made it to go that way. But finally we got married. We wedded in December 2006. On the 17th of December 2006. That was how it got.
I must say this is beautiful, sir.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
And conclusively, I want to know the kind of advice you give to newly wedded couples concerning how to make their marital wine sweeter and how to settle differences, and also to the singles on how to know whom to get married to.
By God's grace, one of the passions we have is to the family. We have passion for homes and passion for marriages. That is the reason why we have the program we run every quarter called Couples Calling. By God's grace, we've had just 3 editions, and the testimonies are quite mind-blowing. Differences will come. Issues will come up in marriage. In a home, like I said, just know what you want. In as much as your plan is not to end the marriage, your plan is not to want the marriage. Because a home that is working is a product of the work of both the man and the woman. I tell people that there is no gift of a peaceful home. You work at it. Whenever you see any home working, the 2 key players, the husband and the wife, are working. You work deliberately to see that this thing works. Like I said earlier, you must know what you want. If to end the marriage is what you want, there is no advice or counsel that can help you. My wife and I sat with a couple in our former station. They were having marital challenges. We sat with the 2 of them from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's the longest we have ever sat to resolve issues. We didn't have any headroom. The next day we started for another 5 hours. We said everything we knew how to say. Trusted God to tell us what to say. At the end, as we're talking, that marriage is ended. The truth is, it will always work when you want it to work. When you see a man who is obstinate or a wife who is heady, and they do not want to blend to make it work. There is no way. God himself can't help them. But if you are having differences, but deep down in you, you want to make it work, it will work. A friend of mine, a pastor in Rivers State, I always use him as an example. He told me that, excuse me, when they got married, they were unbelievers. Their marriage should have 28 to 29 years now. As at the time we were talking, they were 25 years in marriage. He said to us, my wife and I, that their first 10 years in marriage was like Iraq and Iran war. They fought, they quarreled, they would throw things at each other. One day, the two of them sat down and they asked each other after they gave their life to Christ, this one said, I want it to work. The other one said, I want it to work. So he told the wife, pick up a mirror and paper. Then he also picked up a mirror and paper. Write down everything I do you don't like. So you write down everything you do. I will write down everything you do I don't like. You write down everything I do that I don't like. And by the time they finish writing, they exchange total. Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? What we want to make it work from now? I will be careful on these matters. I will make sure that this particular matter I make it work. And for the past 15 years, because the two of them made up their mind to make it work, for the past 15, if you see them, they're like brother and sister. If you see them, they're like soulmate, they're soulmates. If you see them, you see harmony, you see peace, you see joy. They are walking it and it's working. Their marriage is sweet. What happened? They made a decision. The prodigal son's destiny changed when he made a decision. My father has so much at home. Even servants I enjoy. Why am I suffering in this situation? So he said, I will arise and return to my father. What happened? He knew that where he was not what he wanted. So he decided to arise. That decision he made to make a U-turn changed everything about him. The Bible never told us to suffer anymore. So it starts from a decision. It starts from making the choice. We do not want this home to end. And the truth is this: when a marriage suffers, it's not just the two of them. The children in the marriage suffer. They are traumatized. The stigma is much. Statistics tells us that most children that end up not doing well in life came from either a troubled home or a broken home. Now, my father is late, but I remember he and my mother had issues 3 times. My father laid his hands on my mom when we were growing up. Those 3 pictures have been left in my mind. I think the last one happened when I was around 10, but the picture stopped here. And those are the things I said I will never allow my children to see. They will never see it. The little differences we'll have is maybe not talking to her, she's not talking to me, they are whether we're carrying, there is face off in the house. Not that there was any physical abuse, never. Since we got married, I have never lifted her. She has never said anything insulting. And even if she said, which I know she will never say, I won't, because there was something I saw when I was growing up and I said, this will never repeat itself. I won't keep the reason is this. I tell myself, I have a sister. I won't be excited when the husband hits her. I have a daughter. I will never be happy that the husband in the future hit her. I have a mother. I do not want my wife to face what she faced in those days of ignorance. So that part, she also made the decision. So it is decision to make it work that finally makes it work. So when you want it to work, you will sit back and ask yourself, what are the things bringing issues? Just avoid them. I'm talking about young ladies who want to get married. I will tell them, number 1, 2 can work together except they married. The first place, never get hooked up to somebody based on the material things, on the physical. If you want to get married, either as a man, as a woman, find out for yourself. The first qualification as Christians is the person born again. Not that our marriage might change you. You are not the Holy Ghost. Salvation, taking you to heaven, is more important than marriage. God has never forced anybody to be born again. So why should he force anybody to change when he has married you? So you can't change anybody. It's the person born again. After ascertaining the fact that the person is born again, because you might have about 10 persons that are born again. She had that challenge about so many institutions that are born again, in fact pastors. Now ask yourself, are we going in the same direction? When you have been able to clear the fact that you are going in the same direction, then Lord, which is your perfect will? Which one do you have peace? I tell people that the leading of God is always with peace and joy, not just in revelation, Because if I had had the revelation I had, and I didn't have peace inside me, I will not be moved. Don't move by prophecy. Whenever anybody prophesies to you, this is your wife, this is your husband, run. Prophecies don't give you leadings. Prophecies bring confirmation. Any revelation you are seeing or prophecy coming from anyone should confirm the leading that you already have from God. Because it says that as many that are led by the Spirit of God, they are sons of God. So one of the things that shows that you are a child of God is that He leads you. Not that somebody is leading you. God will not lead you through another. He leads you Himself because He is your God. So those, when you put those together, it becomes easier to make the right choice. Don't be materialistic. When my wife married me, she didn't tell that story, that part of the story. I had nothing. The people around her were almost 50 times wealthier. If I tell her things well with me, I tell young ladies, I say, if you knew me then, you won't marry me. If you knew me then, you won't marry me. But she knew what she saw, and she decided to go ahead. And by God's grace, she's not regretting.
Yes, it's obvious.
So I believe she also has a few things to
Well,
say.
do you have anything to say?
That is said it all, other than like the single thing they should learn how to make it work. And that everybody is in marriage doesn't mean that they will stay forever. That's it. Those people, my husband always gives illustration that when you get to the station, no matter how long wait to get to it. So let's learn how to live one to. Once we can learn how to live one to, we will actively take decision making. Because most marriages today is as a result of making a decision of setting their restructure. So if you can learn to wait on your time, wait on God, waiting on your time, waiting on God, definitely you have lesser problems in talks in our generation.
Wow, personally, I've learned a lot. Daddy, I picked something when you say God did not force anybody to be born again. I picked it. Very important. Thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you for honoring this invitation.
Thank you for having us.
I am super grateful. Thank you so much.